Hello, 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 everyone. My name is Lexie, and I am one of the Archer Review tutors. Thank you to everybody joining us today, either via Zoom or on Facebook or on YouTube. Hi, everyone. Today, I'm going to walk you folks through what Intense Prep is. Intense Prep is Archer Review's 6-week program to get you ready to take and pass your NCLEX exam. And I'm here to tell you all about it because I want to make sure you understand all of the awesomeness that we are able to provide with this program. Now, to kick us off, I want to just let us know about a couple things. First of all, you can see that QR code up there in that upper right-hand corner. If you are interested in acquiring this program, go ahead, take your phone on out. You can't see me because of my green screen. Go ahead, take your phone on out, grab that QR code, and it's going to take you right to that Intense Prep booking page. Now, besides that, don't put your phones anywhere, keep them handy, because when I flip us to our next slide, we are going to use an interactive app called Slido. I've got a couple questions that I want you folks to answer for me. Now, we also do have Archer Review tutors hanging out in the chat. So if you do have questions, of course, while I'm going through this program, pop those questions into the chat. We've got folks on YouTube, Facebook, and right here in the Zoom chat as well. But I'd really love to get your input when I flip us to that next slide and I open up one of our Slido slides. But even before I take it away to our next batch of slides, I just want to tell you a little bit about me. Like I said, my name's Lexie. I am one of the Archer Review tutors here at Archer Review. I have quite a diverse background when it comes to my nursing experience. When I was a new graduate back at the end of 2011, beginning of 2012, I started as a med-surg nurse. I did a little bit of in-home hospice case management, and then I went back into the hospital after the hospice thing. I really missed actually working in a hospital. I went back to the hospital, and then I became an ER nurse. ER nursing is my absolute passion in this world. I love when things are crazy and chaotic. I've also spent a little bit of time running a vaccine clinic. I spent some time in a PACU. So if you ever have questions about what the right field of nursing may be for you, hit me up. I'd love to talk with you folks. But let's get into the point of today. I want to tell you all about this awesome, awesome program that we have at Archer Review. But I also want to know where everybody is joining us from. So please get out that phone and join us on slido.com. Now, if you do not have a QR code, you can also join us from a desktop. All I need you to do is go to slido.com and put in today's code, 12/20/2023, today's date. So go ahead, folks, join on in to our Slido presentation. I want to know where you are joining us from today. I'm going to give folks a few moments here because I know it can take a few moments to get that Slido brought on up. And if you don't have Slido, of course, you can also message in the chat as well. Ooh, okay. We've got somebody from Canada. Super, super cool. Checking out some other areas. Ooh, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I hope it is warm for you down there today. I am in the Midwest and it is pretty cold. That's why I got my thick cardigan on here today. Awesome. And once you make it into Slido, go ahead and answer that first question for me today. Where are you joining us from? Oh, Tampa. I'm sure it's pretty warm down in Tampa too. Awesome. San Francisco, super, super cool. I just want to make sure everybody knows how to use Slido, especially if you plan on attending more of these webinars with us. We love using Slido and interacting with you folks via Slido. Cool, Eastern Kentucky. Awesome. We see we've got a couple other people typing. Oxnard, I'm wondering Oxnard, California. Awesome. People joining us from Tennessee, Eastern Kentucky, Meridian, Connecticut. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for answering. So now I know you guys know how to use these Slido slides. So next up, we got another Slido question. I want you to raise your hand virtually, of course, if you have taken the NCLEX before. How many of you out there have taken this NCLEX exam before? So we've got somebody who told me yes. And these answers are anonymous, folks. Okay, so far we're mixed here. What's super cool about our Intense Prep program, that 6-week sort of boot camp program here, it is really geared towards that repeat test taker. Now, that's not to say if you're a first timer, this is a bad program for you, not at all. But what's super cool about Intense Prep, we walk you through basically all of the resources that Archer Review has in those 6 weeks. And I'm going to take you through all those different elements today that you will be able to experience if you purchase our Intense Prep product yourself. All right, so we've got about a 2/3 mix here. That's great. I'm so excited because those of you joining me, I think, are really going to get a lot of value out of me explaining what this program is to get you ready to take and pass that NCLEX exam. Now, I promise you, we've only got a couple more of these slides. I'm only going to make you do a little bit more work here. So I want you to share with me a word or two that comes to mind when you think about NCLEX. Any word at all, good, bad, whatever just pops into your mind. What do you think? See, we got a couple people responding over here. Karma. Ooh, that's a good one. I'm going to interpret that as if you put in the time, the effort, the work, like spending those 6 weeks with us with Intense Prep, you'll have a good result. Ooh, I like that word. Nervous. I totally understand nervous. Frustration. Definitely nobody likes going to their testing center and sitting there for hours on end. I'm with you on that one. Chaotic. Ooh, I wonder if maybe we can turn that chaotic idea a little bit around after we talk about some awesome things that you can utilize to get you ready to take and then pass that NCLEX exam. All right, so now I'm pretty sure this is our last slide here, folks. For you, what's been the most challenging part of NCLEX preparation? And I want to see if anybody else here is going to pop those same answers into this Slido window. What do you think has been the most challenging part? Time. Definitely. It can be really hard to find that right time balance, right? I'm sure you have plenty of life commitments, a job, family, a personal life, although I'm not sure what that is during nursing school, but I totally understand that time, that time commitment's really hard. Sleeping, focus, expecting to finish at 85 questions. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about that real quick. There should be no expectation that NCLEX exam between 85 and 150, it just needs to know the exam by it. It needs to know when it can turn off, when it knows for sure. So I know we always want it to turn off at that 85 questions, but if you get some more, that's okay. I don't want you sitting there being nervous if the exam keeps going, because then you're just going to get in your head. So for me, when I went and I took my NCLEX exam, I already had it in my head to just be prepared to take the entire thing and set the tone at that rate. All right, understanding the concepts and putting it all together, time management, don't know where to start, finding the best preparation. Well, guess what? You came to the right place because I want to tell you all about this program. So what is it? What is this program that I keep talking about? So Intense Prep. I'm one of our Intense Prep tutors, and I will be hanging out with you folks every single Thursday. Our Intense Prep program is a mixture of live lectures. It's a mixture of small groups. You're going to get an ebook. You're going to get access to our Qbank. All of those things for $400, $399. It's an incredible value. Now, our Archer Review tutors are phenomenal. We've got Shelly, we've got Elizabeth, we've got Diane. Those are our tutors that are going to be the ones who offer the small group sessions. So what is Intense Prep? It's challenging. It definitely is. And you definitely need to be able to make the time commitment to this program. We take you through, again, all of those Archer Review resources in 6 weeks. So there's going to be a lot of material to get through. But what's super cool about Intense Prep, it's incredibly structured. We really try to hold your hand through the 6 weeks. We tell you exactly how many questions to do on which days to do a readiness assessment, which days to do a CAT exam, which material to get through. We also have worksheets. We have case studies. We've got everything inside of that ebook. Now, I want to make sure we all understand, though, this isn't an easy breezy, I'm just going to show up, do some today, do some tomorrow. No, 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 no. Most days of the week, you're going to need to make a solid commitment to this program. Our students typically spend about 5 to 6 hours per day for those 6 weeks going through our content. And again, that's going to include watching some of the on-demand videos, attending those live lectures that I do on Thursday and Elizabeth does on Tuesday, attending your small group sessions, doing the worksheets, working through the case studies, doing the flashcards. Pharmacology flashcards are a huge part of Intense Prep, and doing all of the elements that come with Intense Prep. Well, speaking of that, I want to walk you through all of those parts of Intense Prep. So Intense Prep, once you purchase the product, you'll be prompted to download our ebook. Download that ebook. And now when you open that ebook, do me one more favor. I want you to actually save it to your device because at first the ebook's going to open into a browser window. If you just leave it there, you do some work in the ebook and close down your browser, all that work you just did is gone. So if you do take part of Intense Prep, my little hint here for you is please save that ebook to your device, your tablet, your desktop, whatever you're joining us from, but please be sure to save it. Now, at the beginning of that ebook, it's going to include a very, very structured schedule. It's going to walk you through everything you need to do. It's a day-by-day plan guiding you through exactly what lectures to watch, what activities to complete, and which practice questions to do. You'll always know what you should be doing on each and every day if you just simply follow along with that structured schedule that comes at the beginning of the ebook. We also are going to go talk about our small groups. Now, those small groups take place on Monday and Tuesday, and we're going to go a little bit more into those in a couple slides from now. Like I said, we're going to have those Tuesday, Thursday live lectures. Tuesday's lectures will be done by our awesome tutor, Elizabeth, and the Thursday ones, you'll see me. I do our Thursday live lectures and it's always from 9 a.m. to noon Central Time. Now, let's say you really wanted to attend one of the lectures with me on Thursday, right? And it's in your schedule. Let's use tomorrow for an example. Tomorrow, I'm going to be getting on Zoom at 9 a.m. From 9 to noon, I'm going to review the cardiac system. From there, then, let's say you accidentally had another commitment. Maybe you had a doctor's appointment. Maybe you got to pick up your kid from school. Life happens. We understand that. If that's the case, guess what? You're going to have the corresponding video in your on-demand library. So we'd rather you come to our live review lectures on Tuesday, Thursday, and participate live. But if something happens, you're always going to have access to a similar recording. Of course, if you buy Intense Prep, you're also going to have access to our phenomenal Qbank. And our Qbank has over 2,900 questions. And those are going to be made up of our classic questions as well as those new NGN questions as well. And then, as I've been saying, it's also going to come with that ebook. And that ebook, that is a whopper. It is an awesome book. And I know it's 1,000 pages. You're probably thinking to yourself, Lexie, some of my textbooks aren't even that big. What on earth is in that ebook? It's all the slides. All the slides that we use during our live lectures, you're going to have them right there for yourself. One-stop shop for all of those things that you need to succeed with Intense Prep. So let's take a look at what that structured schedule looked like. And folks, this is pretty much exactly what that schedule looks like. I just took screenshots of what the schedule looks like in your ebook. Now, depending on when you join Intense Prep, and we have cohorts that start every 2 weeks. Our next cohort is going to start on January 8th. Again, if you're interested, point that camera right there at that QR code, and it's going to take you right on over to that booking page. Elizabeth is going to be our tutor Elizabeth's the tutor for the cohort that starts on January 8th. She's not starting. She's been doing this for a while. So if you're interested, scan that QR code and it will take you right there to the booking page and you'll see, hey, Elizabeth's the tutor that's going to be starting that next go around on January 8th. Ooh, good time right after the holidays. Sometimes we get a little bit extra cash from our family, friends, loved ones. Might be a really good investment, especially if you're somebody who's struggling to maintain accountability in your studies for your NCLEX exam. So looking here, you can see week 1, all those elements, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You can see all of those individual things that you will be expected to complete. So on Monday, you're going to have most likely an on-demand video to watch. You're also going to have your small groups that meet on Monday. You may have some worksheets. You may have some Qbank questions. And again, this structured schedule comes at the very beginning of your ebook. Heck, I think it starts on page 2 or 5 of the ebook. So as soon as you download that ebook, you'll have access to the structured schedule and you'll know exactly what's coming next. So let's talk a little bit more about those small group tutoring sessions. Like I said, those take place on Mondays and Wednesdays. Now, I can't tell you a set time because depending on the tutor, they fluctuate just a little fit. We have Elizabeth, we have Diane, and we have Shelly, and we always start another go around of the 6-week program every 2 weeks. So let's say January 8th is not the best fit for you. Maybe you need another couple weeks. Maybe you just want to time it out a little bit differently with your NCLEX. That's okay. Because if you are not interested in joining that January 8th session, though I think it's a pretty good idea, we'll have another one that starts on January 22nd, and Shelly is going to be the tutor that leads those small group sessions for you. So what do we do in the small groups? Well, in these small groups, what else is pretty cool about these? It's capped off at 20 students. So that means if you join in to Intense Prep, it's going to be you and a maximum of 19 other students in your small groups. Now, these small group sessions on Mondays, they're really going to have a primary focus on giving you feedback. Your tutor can teach you how to read a CPR report if you have one from the past. Your tutor, though, on these Monday sessions, really going to have a focus on going through your work with you. That means your Archer Review tutor is going to be able to have access to how you're doing in the Qbank. They'll be able to see if you're keeping up with those questions that have been assigned to you in the daily schedule. But what's super cool about this, then your tutor can give you individualized feedback. Let's say, and I'm just going to use my friend Rachel here, who's managing the chat here. Let's say Rachel isn't in Intense Prep with me, and I see that Rachel has been doing her due diligence and keeping up with the Qbank as it's laid out in the schedule. But as I am going through her scores, if I see that she's struggling with things like fundamentals, I can go in and I can look to see, all right, Rach, I think you need to spend a little bit more time reviewing this video. I want you to redo these skeleton notes, something else that comes as part of the ebook. Your tutor can then give you these individualized recommendations. And that's really what the Monday sessions are focused on. Taking a look at how you did the previous week and giving you that individualized feedback. Now, our very first Monday session of Intense Prep, it's going to be really a welcome to Intense Prep, where your tutor will walk you through all of the elements to make sure you fully understand how the program works. Now, on Wednesdays of our small groups, Wednesdays are a little bit different. You're still going to meet at the exact same time. You're going to be in the exact same class with your same classmates, same time, same classmates, except on Wednesdays, it's going to have more of a content focus. We go through prioritization, we do practice questions, go through delegation, do practice questions, and we talk about why it's so important to delegate appropriately, delegating to the LVN or LPN, delegating to a UAP, an unlicensed assistive personnel. We're going to go through select all that apply questions. We're going to go through test taking strategies. Wednesday's more content focused. Monday is more feedback focused. Now, what about those Tuesday, Thursday live lectures that I mentioned? What's that all about? Well, that's exactly that. They're live lectures. We meet from 9 a.m. to noon every single Tuesday, Thursday, unless, of course, there's a holiday. Take Thanksgiving, for example. We didn't meet that Thursday because, well, it was Thanksgiving. But generally speaking, we meet every single Tuesday, Thursday. Now, the topic will be indicated in the schedule, found at the beginning part of your ebook, and we always meet for those 3 hours. We typically start, most of our live reviews typically get kicked off with a couple warm-up questions, some pharmacology questions, some dosage calculation questions, maybe an ABG question or two out there just to get you warmed up for the day. Now, this is going to be a large group of students. There's going to be limited time for questions, but what I will tell you, though, is while I'm going through the slides live with you folks, you can still totally ask questions in the chat. And we present these live lectures via Zoom. So that means if I'm the one doing the live lecture, I've still got another Archer Review tutor in the chat who can answer your questions live. That's why I said we totally would prefer if you joined us live versus just watching the corresponding recording that you'd have in your on-demand library. But if you miss a session, you miss a session. It happens. Now, how would you do this? Well, when you join Intense Prep, you would log into your Archer Review account. You would click on the little icon on the left that says Intense Prep. You would then join us by clicking on live lectures. I would need you to sign up ahead of time, but all you have to do is click on the button that says join lecture, and you're registered. You go to that same exact spot right there on the website. Right here, it says Intense Prep Live and Tutor. I click on live lectures and then just sign up for whatever lecture I wanted to. Those Tuesday, Thursday live lectures. When you join for those live lectures, you're also going to have the option to join us for some live case studies as well. Another awesome quality of our Intense Prep program. You can join the live lectures. You can also join us for our live case studies as well. Now, besides that live access, you're also going to get access to our Qbank, which means you can do those questions in a couple different modes. We've got tutorial mode where you do questions and you set how many questions you want to do. But if you're joining us from Intense Prep, you're already going to know exactly how many questions we want you doing on which day because they'll be indicated in your schedule found in the beginning part of the ebook. So let's take the very first day, for example. The very first day of Intense Prep, we really want you doing the baseline learning assessment. But then if you want to do some practice questions, well, you would just check your schedule and see how many you would need to set up in the Qbank. Maybe it's 25. Now, when you're in tutorial mode, when you do questions, you read the question, you answer the question, you hit submit. And then as soon as you hit submit when in tutorial mode, you'll be able to find out if you got that answer right or wrong. And then you'll be able to read that full answer rationale before moving on to that next question. And folks, anytime you are ever doing questions with Archer Review, I want you reading the entirety of that answer rationale. I don't just want you reading the question and moving your way on through. Even if you got that question right, I want you reading the rationale to really just solidify, like, yes, I got that one right. And let me prove to myself why. If you got them right, if you got them wrong, I want you reading those answer rationales. Now, those next two modes, CAT, readiness assessment, they're a little bit different. A readiness assessment is going to be 85 questions, no more, no less. At the end of those 85 questions, then you'll be able to review your results and you'll be able to review all of your questions. But when you're doing a readiness assessment, we really want you to kind of be in the mentality of like, this is a test. I need to sit here and do the whole thing. But again, if life happens, you are able to pause it. On the readiness assessment, though, when you've completed it, it's going to give you a score. It's going to give you a score of low, borderline, high, or very high, because this will be your chance of passing the NCLEX exam. So let's say you did so good on one of the readiness assessments and you got a very high chance of passing. Well done. We really want you to have 4 readiness assessments before you take your NCLEX, where you score high or very high. Now, students that have 4 consecutive readiness assessments, and guess what? Those are laid out for you in your structured schedule, so you'll already know which days you should be doing the readiness assessment. We don't really start doing them in Intense Prep until about week 2 and beyond, because we just want you getting used to the program and doing questions in tutor mode. But when we do get into those readiness assessments, it's going to be really important you do them according to the schedule, so then your tutor can keep an eye on how you have been doing and then give you that individualized feedback. So those readiness assessments, if you don't do so hot on them, maybe you score low or borderline, that's okay, because then you'll be able to look at your incorrect questions, figure out where you went wrong, and figure out where you need to improve on moving forward. Now, that third mode there, that CAT, C-A-T, Computer Adaptive Test, that's going to be our mode where when you start this mode, when you do a question, if you get it right, hopefully, if you get that question right, it's going to give you that next question a little bit more difficult. It's going to raise that difficulty level up just a little bit. Just like the NCLEX, right? The NCLEX exam is really designed to adapt to the student's ability because it wants to see where you really average on out, where you're getting most of the questions correct. And if you're above that confidence interval, that passing threshold, then woohoo, you've passed your NCLEX attempt. If you're below that passing threshold, well, then that CAT's going to tell you that you did not pass. But again, if that's the situation, you're going to be able to review the questions you got right and wrong, figure out where we went wrong, and develop a plan moving forward. Now, with Intense Prep, Monday, Wednesday, small groups, Tuesday, Thursday, lives. That doesn't mean Friday, Saturday, Sunday, nothing's going on. You're still going to have independent learning. On the Fridays and our Saturdays, there's still going to be on-demand videos for you to watch, worksheets to work through, case studies. In the ebook, we have all of that right there for you. In the ebook, we have the table of contents in the beginning part of the book that's going to include a welcome letter. That schedule, oh, it was page 5 that it starts on. I was wrong when I said page 2. It starts on page 5. The welcome letter, which is going to contain helpful links. In case you open this ebook and you're overwhelmed, there's going to be helpful links that takes you right to super helpful how-to videos, just in case you're really just kind of overwhelmed by the program. It's going to include information on the question bank, like I just kind of walked through with you guys. It's going to explain the difference between tutorial mode, a readiness assessment, a CAT. You're going to have all the lecture notes. So let's use tomorrow as another example. I'm going to go through the cardiovascular system with all of my Intense Prep students that are attending live. Now, they're already going to have all of those notes right there in their ebook, and they're even going to have a space to take notes right next to them. So you're going to have all the slides and a space to take notes with. You're going to have notes that you can use for the feedback sessions, those Monday sessions. You're going to have all the slides that we go through on the Wednesday small group days as well. You're going to find out what skeleton notes are, which they're kind of exactly what they sound like. They're notes designed to really challenge your recall of information that you have gone through to see what you can recall about a variety of topics. In the ebook, you're going to get flashcards. So there's a ton of awesome pharmacology flashcards to really walk you through those meds that we see most often on the NCLEX exam. Cheat sheets, worksheets, case studies. It's all found in the ebook. Again, when you purchase Intense Prep, and then you're prompted to open up the ebook as indicated by this red square, download that ebook, and please, please, please save it to your device. Don't just open it up from an internet browser window. So here it is again, folks. Our Intense Prep program, our entire 6 weeks comes in at $3.99. And I think that is a tremendous value, especially when you think about those small groups. So 6 weeks, 2 small groups a week, well, golly, that's 12 small groups and they're 2 hours. So that's really 24 hours worth of small group sessions. And again, it's capped off at 20 students. So you'll actually be able to interact with your instructor, Diane, Shelley, or Elizabeth. Now, not only do you have those small groups for 6 weeks, what's super cool about Intense Prep is that you actually are going to have the live access for 3 whole months, which means then if you've made it through 6 months, or pardon me, 6 weeks with us, but you still need a little bit more extra help, guess what? You're still going to be able to keep signing up for those Tuesday, Thursday live sessions for a full 3 months. So maybe you're just having so much fun with Elizabeth and myself on Fridays. Keep coming on back. We're here for you. So you're going to have those small groups. You're going to have the live access. Heck, you can download that ebook. Maybe you want to have a copy on your tablet and maybe you want to have a copy on your desktop. You can totally do that. You can download another copy of that ebook to really challenge yourself. Maybe you want to go through those skeleton notes again. So check that on out, folks. Go ahead, scan that QR code. That QR code is going to take you right on over to our Intense Prep booking page. So when is our next available session? Our next available session with our very fabulous Elizabeth starts on January 7th. So for right now, looking at this, the 2 sessions that Elizabeth offers starting January 7th, those 2 sessions are going to be at 8 a.m. Central Time and 10:30. So maybe 8 a.m. doesn't quite work for you. That's okay. Sign up for the 10:30 a.m. session. So when you purchase your Intense Prep product, I want you to open up your product and make sure that you click on the small group sessions and make sure then you sign up for one of those 2 cohorts. And there's that QR code right again for you folks. Elizabeth would love to have you join us, but those spots are filling fast. So if you are interested, I would definitely recommend checking out that QR code. Maybe think about this. Maybe you don't want to make that purchase today, but I definitely would to secure that spot. Maybe you open up that QR code. You open up another window, save it, come back to it. But I'd really want to see you there with us. I'd love to have you on those Thursday live lecture reviews with me. So folks, right now, oh, I was a little bit of a liar here. I knew I still had one more Slido slide to share with you guys. What questions do you folks have for me right now regarding Intense Prep? What else can I answer for you folks before we hop off of today's webinar? What questions are out there? You want to join us? And if you were not part of our Slido slides before, if you're joining us a little bit late today, all you need to do is go ahead and scan that QR code and then join us. You can enter in that code if you need to join at slido.com and you don't maybe have a QR scanner on your phone. The code, once you bring up slido.com on a desktop, or rather an internet browser window, 12202023, the date for today. All right, I see somebody's typing a question for me. Lay them on me, folks. What questions do you have? I want to answer them in real time here for you all. So yes, let's start with that very first question. It's great for the repeat test taker. Why? Because it's going to be super structured. We walk you through test taking strategies. We talk about testing anxiety, and we're going to lay everything out for you. So you're not left wondering, like scratching your head, like, well, what should I study today? Plus, you're going to have that tutor that's going to be able to look at your scores and help further guide you on any of your weaker areas. It is our best product for the repeat test taker just because of how structured it actually is. So to the individual that said, I already purchased a package, how can I buy this small group? So let me bring us right back to our small group slide here. All right. So these small groups, if you take a look at this image right here, when you have Intense Prep Live and Tutor, I want you just to sign up for one of those small groups by opening. You're going to have to log into your Archer Review product, open up Intense Prep on the left hand, this blue panel on the left, open up Intense Prep Live and Tutor, open up then the private group tutoring sessions, and please ensure that you have signed up for one of those sessions. All right, I don't have any discounts, unfortunately. I wish I had a fun discount code to give you, but we do not have any discounts at this time. What other questions do you folks have for me right now? And our products are already priced pretty low, especially for everything that you're getting with this program. You're getting those 12 small group sessions. You're getting the 3 months of the lives, the case studies, the ebook. This really is a lot for that $399. I know it's tough when we're students. I feel you. I remember, but truly, this is a phenomenal value. Oh, you are. Thank you. Thank you for coming. I'd love to have you in Intense Prep with us. You got it. Those small groups are definitely included for that $399. You got it. Absolutely. So with Intense Prep, when you buy our product, you're getting those 6 weeks of those small groups. So you're going to have that same tutor. So let's say, I'm going to bump us back a slide here. Let's say you are interested in starting with us on our next go around. Folks, we are about to enter into a 2-week pause because it is the holiday season right now. But once we start up again in January, if you are interested, again, our 2 times are 8 a.m. Central Time and then 10:30 Central Time. When you buy Intense Prep, then those small groups, you will be with Elizabeth every Monday and Wednesday, either at 8 a.m. Central Time or 10:30 Central Time. And I know times vary with everybody in our different time zones, people from Myrtle Beach all the way to San Francisco. We've got Eastern time, we've got Pacific Standard Time. So I know there's a lot of different time zones. So here at your review, when we kind of talk about time zones, always also make sure what time it says in your individual student platform. But those are the 2 that we offer right now for this next go around, 8 a.m. Central Time, 10:30 Central Time. And yes, it's all included for that price of $399. Great question. Do we cover each of the client need areas? Well, we definitely talk about them. We definitely talk about the client need areas in one of the days of our small group sessions. That's a great question to ask. So your tutor will talk about those different client need areas with you, as well as all those steps, those necessary steps that you're going to be tested on for those new NGN item types, so those steps of clinical judgment. So your tutor is definitely going to talk about those client needs with you. You're going to go through a couple examples. So let's say we're talking about pharmacological and parental therapies, right? One of those 8 test plan areas. You're going to go through a couple pharmacology and parental therapy type questions so you kind of understand what kinds of questions would fall under each of those client need areas. Great question to ask. Thank you for asking that question. Anybody else out there? I don't want to cut anybody off before I say farewell for today. Anything else? I don't see anybody else typing right now in that active poll. I'm not seeing anything else in the Zoom chat here with me. So folks, I'm just going to bump us back here. I want to make sure everybody had a chance to grab this QR code. You can always access Intense Prep from the Archer Review website, but go ahead, grab this QR code because it's going to take you right to the specific Intense Prep page. And again, maybe just grab the QR code, leave it open as a tab in your computer, in your browser window, and come back to it later today, or come back to it if you've received a couple gifts from the holiday season, whatever works for you. But I know we would absolutely love to have you join us in Intense Prep. I'd love to have you join us on our Thursdays when I get to do our live lecture review. Elizabeth would love to have you. Diane would love to have you, and so would Shelley. Thank you, folks, so much for joining me here today. I had an absolute blast. And when you come and join us with Intense Prep, we're going to have even more fun. Folks, thank you so much. Have a warm, safe, and happy holiday season. I'll talk to you all later. Bye.